seekest, thou dravest love from thee who dravest me. I've often thought of that as only an individual who's running from the point of salvation. But more recently, I have come to the conclusion that it is not just that, for many of us can run from the call of God also in the position to which He is placing us. It is very easy to be resistant to the tender shaping hands of the potter. And maybe God is trying to shape your life in some way. And even though in a narrower sense there are ministerial implications, in the larger sense there's an application for your life, whatever your calling is. And my message today is entitled, Brittle Clay in Tender Hands. Brittle clay in tender hands. Because in Jeremiah chapter 18, we are given the image of this prophet who was a very tender-hearted man himself. He is known across biblical history as the weeping prophet. In fact, after Jesus himself wept over Jerusalem because of the pathos in the countenance of our Lord, somebody asked him, "Are you Jeremiah?" Because they knew Jeremiah to be the man who wept over their cities. And this tender-hearted man was taken to the house of a potter, and he got a lesson there, a visual lesson on how the potter very meticulously worked away at what he was trying to fashion. And if it suddenly broke in his hands, he had to pick up the clump, reshape it, and start all over again. If not too far from the immediate application was the idea of the application in Jeremiah's life himself. Let me read for you the words, and at the beginning it may not seem too directly connected for us because there's a historic notation, but bear with me, these names meant something to the people that he was writing to. The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests of Anathoth in the territory of Benjamin. The word of the Lord came to him in the 13th year of the reign of Josiah, son of Amon, king of Judah, and through the reign of Jehoiakim, son of Joash, king of Judah, down to the 5th month of the 11th year of Zedekiah, son of Joash, king of Judah, when the people of Jerusalem went into exile. The word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Ah, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child. But the Lord said to me, do not say I am only a child. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for lo, I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, now I have put my words in your mouth. See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. He goes on to say to Jeremiah, get yourself ready. Stand up and say to them whatever I command you. Do not be terrified by them, or I will terrify you before them. Today I have made you a fortified city, an iron pillar and a bronze wall to stand up against the whole land. Now's when the trouble and the problem really begins in his life. I'm but a child. I'm too young. I cannot speak. Do you recall the same type of struggle that went on with Moses when he said, look, I am not fit to do this? Do you recall the same kind of struggle he met with one preacher after another? Do you recall the moment even when John the Baptist, who was so strong in his commitment, began to wonder if Jesus was indeed the one whom he should have been looking for, or was there someone else, because John found himself in prison? But put yourself in Jeremiah's place now. I can make this as personally applicable to our very day in history. Follow me, please. Jeremiah had a very difficult task. It was not just that he had a message to proclaim, but he had a message to proclaim that the audience was not going to want to hear. They were going to be irritated and angry at some of the things he was going to say, and indeed wanted him banished from their land. What do I mean by that? You see, 4 out of the 6 kings he mentions, 4 out of them died violent